Now I'll admit, roasting a whole chicken can feel a bit intimidating, but you don't have to be a master chef to get this right. You just need a little understanding of some of the important techniques that ensure you get a tender, juicy, and flavorful chicken every time. Because there's no exact science here. So I'm gonna walk you through these steps, and I'm gonna try and keep this as simple as possible. Once you have your whole chicken, the first thing you're gonna do is salt it. You want a liberal amount of salt on here, okay? Don't be shy. Okay, get it all over the exterior here. You can go ahead and rub it in with your hand. A little bit on the inside. Okay, this is gonna help lock in those juices and even help the skin crisp up a bit. All right, there we go, simple enough. Now, the most vulnerable part of the chicken is by far the breast meat. Trying to keep this part from drying out is definitely the hard part. So let me show you a little technique for that. Grab a little spoon, and you're just gonna lift up this part of the skin here and gently slide in the spoon in between the skin and the breast here to create a little bit of space. Then you're gonna get a little butter. All right, and you're just gonna slide this right into the space that you created. Just like that, both sides here. You just take your hands and press it down so it covers most of the breast. You see, you have to protect the breast meat because it's very vulnerable to overcooking. So the added fat is going to help insulate it and ensure that it's nice and juicy. Now the next part is to add some seasoning to it. And this part is completely optional, but it does add a lot of flavor to it. Add whatever seasoning and spices you want to this, anything you liked. This is simply some black pepper, some paprika, some garlic, and a little bit of sugar. And I think some oregano as well. I'll put my little spice blend here down in the description below, but use whatever spices and seasoning you like. Okay, then I'm just gonna drizzle just a little olive oil, just a touch of oil all over the chicken, and rub that in just a little bit. Make your chicken nice and pretty, but definitely not your hand. I think I've washed my hands 25 times already. It's okay, it's the price of filming. All right, next, grab a lemon and slice off just the edge of it here, just to expose the flesh, and then insert that directly into the cavity of the chicken. And if you happen to have any fresh rosemary, go ahead and stick that in there as well. But again, this is optional. Right, next, get a large baking dish. I got a 9x13 here, and just fill it up with some potatoes and carrots. I have mine diced up into bite-sized pieces here. Right, then place your whole chicken breast side down right here in the center. And the vegetables create this little barrier between the direct heat and the breast, giving it an added layer of protection. Give it one last drizzle of oil, and then put just a touch of water on both sides here. This is just gonna steam off in the oven, of course, but as the juice and the fat from the chicken release, it's gonna cover all those potatoes and carrots, and it's gonna flavor them perfectly. Now, uncovered, into the oven it goes. Now I'm gonna talk about temperature and duration here in just a bit, but for now, this is going in at 400 degrees. And I'm gonna let that cook for 1 hour. Now here's the tricky part. Temperature and cook times are gonna vary depending on the size of your chicken, or even how it was raised, or if you chose to brine it. There are just a lot of factors. So what most people will recommend is that you use a thermometer to check the temperature of your chicken. And that is a good recommendation, so I'll put those stats down in the description below for you. Well, for me personally, I've done this recipe many times. The chicken was about just under 5 pounds, and I cook it at 400 degrees for 1 hour, and then I drop the temperature to 350 for another 20 to 30 minutes. Now, of course, we want our chicken to turn out perfectly every time, and I might get some hate for this, but as a home cook, it is okay to make mistakes. And then you learn from them and you improve from there. That's how you grow. There have been several times when I'm like, sorry kids, it's gonna be 20 more minutes before supper because I messed up somewhere. Or sorry kids, the chicken's a little overcooked. Here's some barbecue sauce. You just have to keep learning and keep trying, and you'll get it, trust me. And here we go. Look at that. Beautifully roasted chicken here. Now here comes the most important part. This has to rest. So you can cover it, you can not cover it, that's totally up to you. But this needs to rest for a minimum of 10 minutes, but more like 30 minutes would be better. In fact, there are some French restaurants that will rest their chickens for the same amount of time that it cooked. And while that might not be necessary, resting the chicken allows the muscle fibers to relax and to reabsorb all the juices. Also, for the first 10 minutes of resting time, the chicken is still cooking, so keep that in mind if you're checking its temperature. It will likely rise 5 to 10 degrees from when you first pulled it out. The rest period also helps so you don't burn yourself during this carving process. Need 2 breasts, 2 thighs, 2 legs, 2 wings, and of course the carcass, which I'll be using to make stock. And let me just show you how moist this chicken stays. Just pulls apart very easily. Still has all of its juices in there. Delicious chicken. My kids will gobble this up. Oh, and check out these vegetables too. They're perfectly cooked. They took a nice little bath in that chicken fat. These are so delicious. They need no other seasoning. And last but not least, you take that lemon and you just squeeze a little juice over the chicken. And there you have it. Delicious roast chicken. Keep it simple. Now go practice making something delicious for someone you love. All right, here you go, guys.
This is my friend Charlotte. That's really good.